Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Marvel Comics Presents Wolverine issue 89, and this is inside cover dated mid-October 1991. So of course Marvel Comics Presents coming out every 2 weeks. This is part 5 of a storyline featuring Wolverine. This is the cover by Sam Kieth, pencils and inks by him, and you can see it's a pretty cool one, obviously featuring Wolverine enraged with his claws extruded, and also he's in the driving rain there. So a really fun idea to allow Sam Kieth to play around with some white media as well, cutting into the black ink on the page, giving us that expression of rain falling on Wolverine. And I really like the detail of his drooling from his gums there with the sheer anger. And the color choice here by whoever colored this cover is nicely done as well. That mix of yellow, orange and red, and the glowing red eyes there of Wolverine and his rage. So let's open this one up to the inside cover credits. Over here we have Blood Hungry, part 5 of 8. So we've reached the midway point of this ongoing story. And we have a blurb there. Wolverine has awakened from a terrifying hallucination. Now, however, he faces a bloody battle against his worst nightmare, the man called Cyber. And the creator credits: Peter David Ryder, artist Sam Kieth, so Sam Kieth doing pencils and inks, letters by Dave Sharp, and colors by Pat Garrahy. So the first page here is really interesting in terms of the layout. We have these super small, tiny even panels with an exterior shot of Tiger's balcony there, and Cyber leaving the space, closing the door behind him, and the muzzle or snout of a wolf in the corridor way, and racing up to the door, the closed door, and slamming its paw on the door. So Tiger hears that. She grabs for a handgun and she looks through the peephole, and what does she see except for the snarling face of an animal, a wolf. And she says, "Don't move. I've just suffered one animal, Cyber, to leave here unmolested. You will not be so fortunate. Come on, give me a reason to shoot well." So you can see here in the art, this is really what Sam Kieth is interested in. This interesting rendering of Tiger with her dress and this really strange crystal ball ornament that she has in her apartment, as well as the drapery on her dress there falling off the edge of the chair that she had been sitting on. So really nicely done. Let's turn the page and continue with the story. The wolf comes into the balcony space, and she says nothing, just standing there, pensive, sullen, like someone I know, the lover of Tiger. Who's that with you? Your own lover? A wolf and a cat? So there's a small kitten that has come along with the wolf, and we've seen these pair before in the ambit of Wolverine, Wounded Wolverine. So they've come to give a message to Tiger to come save or at least help Wolverine in his wounded state. And then we get this blurring of Wolverine's face and Cyber's face as well, and then this great splash page here of the two of them racing at each other with their respective body weapons pointed at each other. Wolverine's claws and Cyber's claw fingernails as well. So the title of this particular chapter of the Blood Hungry ongoing story, 5 cents worth, and we have third person narration. But actually no, it's first person narration. It is Wolverine's monologue, trapped in recollections of a time that was and wasn't, battling Cyber, who is and was my worst nightmare come to life. So really interesting on these pages is the art, is the work again that Sam Kieth is doing on the drapery there of Tiger's dress, as well as the patterning there on her her tights or pantyhose there, and the wolf in the door, the rendering of the fur of the wolf, and then the kitten there too, and then these distorted images of Wolverine and Cyber, and then you can see their faces distorting in this kind of violent line work around the two figures as they race at each other. Really interesting designs from Sam Kieth. Let's continue with the story. This is a funny page where again we're in the kind of the surreal hallucination of Wolverine, who was poisoned by Cyber when Cyber ripped his guts out, and we can see them going right at each other there, all of the lettering there. I'm wondering whether the lettering might be by Sam Kieth himself rather than Dave Sharp. I think Dave Sharp's lettering is consists solely of the speech balloons lettering rather than this. Many artists such as Sam Kieth include the sound effect lettering as part of the art and the design. So I'm pretty much of the opinion that this lettering here is by Sam Kieth, but it's a really interesting device for rendering the hacking and slashing of these two enemies. And then we move again to those small panels. We see that either of them or both of them have run past each other. We get the reaction here, and Wolverine has been sliced to bits by Cyber. So this is like a vision straight out of Salvador Dali, and Cyber says, "Well, that certainly cut you down to size." And Logan responds, "I'm not finished yet." "Oh, I think you are," says Cyber. "So long, Logan." And he spits on him. And I like the little detail of Logan closing his eyes as Cyber's sputum lands right on his eye. "It's been surreal," he says as he walks off. And indeed, this has been a surreal sequence. So here we are. Wolverine is still in that fetal position. Gives Sam Kieth an opportunity to do a lot of work on Wolverine's bulging arm muscles there, shoulder, biceps, triceps there, as well as the rendering of his body hair. Lots and lots of work on the page. And then who turns up to his aid except for Tiger, and she's wearing a white wool jumper, and which recalls the white fur of the cat. And this again is a kind of a symbolism of Tiger as that white cat, and Wolverine there himself figured forth in the wolf. And Tiger says to him, "Oh Lord Logan, look at you." And he responds weakly, Tiger, "That you? How'd you find me?" And she says, "Your friends brought me. I sensed you in them. I cannot explain it more than that." Slowly, "You're belly wounded," she says to him as he tries to get up. So in this particular story, Tiger is characterized as having an intuition, a kind of a witchy intuition. And I think maybe that's the reason that Sam Kieth has given her that crystal ball ornament in her apartment. It kind of communicates that intuition, that witchy intuition of hers. So Wolverine then, 5 cents worth, he sniffs her hand as she tries to help him up, and he narrows his eyes and says, "His scent is on you. You were with him." So she's shocked. You were with Cyber. He had you just like he had her. The old girlfriend of Logan's in his hallucination wound, in his hallucination dream, while he was wounded with the poison from Cyber's claws. So this is an interesting page here. You can see that Sam Kieth is using negative space on the page. I mean, like, that speeds up the drawing process, but it also communicates the moment where Wolverine here has his claws extruded. He puts them out in front of Tiger's face and he says, "Nothing's mine, not my woman, not my mind. I'll kill you. And then she butts in and says, "If you think I would let a creature such as Cyber defile me, if that is your opinion of me, go ahead, do it." So it's interesting to see Sam Kieth have this sequence of large vertical panels, but they're getting narrow and narrow and narrow, and Wolverine is shrinking in them as his rage subsides, and he brings his claws back into his forearm, and he simply concludes, "Oh," and then he says to her, "Forgive me," or he asks her, "Forgive me." Again, this is really interesting design here of him kneeling in front of her, and she patting him like he's a apologetic wolf, And she says, how could I stay mad at a face like that? So there's one joke at least in this Peter David script. It's mostly serious in this particular chapter. Wolverine says, just that I got an almost fatal belly wound, had a bizarre dream, almost killed you, and ran into the one guy in the world who gives me the creeps. Tough day at the office, he says, and she responds, same here, I just had to make a deal for drugs I don't want. Wolverine replies, tell me about it. Later she says, so she helps him up and they're going to walk back to her apartment, and the cat and the wolf are going to go with them too. And notice here in the foreground we've got a ram's horn in the foliage here, and that is a visual cue for what comes next, where we transition to General Coy's office at the top of Hightown in Madripoor, and General Coy has a visitor to his office once again, and it's Cyber. All right, General, he says, the price you've offered is acceptable. And General Coy says to him, the transfer of goods will be at midnight tomorrow. And Cyber says Tiger may not approve, and she has certain friends who might share that disapproval. So he's referencing Wolverine there. And Coy says, have you factored in that their disapproval might take severe form? Factored it in, says Cyber. My dear General, I'm counting on it, as he leaves his office and closes the door behind him. So interesting transition here. General Coy's office quite dark, just light from the Venetian blinds hitting the ram's head horns, and also the mirror here. So you can see there that once again Sam Kieth doing a lot of work on the hatching and the rendering of the shiny reflective surface of the mirror, but a lot of black used on this particular page. And also there, as Cyber closes the door, the room itself goes dark, no lights on in the room. So things are looking dark for Wolverine in his ongoing wounded state, and Tiger indeed. So what is Cyber's plan exactly continues next issue. So once again, really in this particular chapter, the star of the show is Sam Kieth's art. And I know that certain people are not a fan of his art, maybe think it's too cartoony. But I think in this particular chapter, he's gotten very comfortable with drawing Wolverine, and I think that he is enjoying himself with the telling this story from Peter David's script. And I think it is a really interesting way that he's chosen to lay out and tell the story. There's more going on than just the words on the page, and there's lots for a reader to admire in all the detail and the time and care that Sam Kieth has taken over the drawings. Just a couple of other things to note before I conclude this video review. This particular issue of Marvel Comics Presents contains early work by two artists who proved very popular in the 90s. Jay Lee here. So there's an 8-page story featuring very early Jay Lee art when he was around 19 years old. So he's drawing a story there featuring Beast of the X-Men. But at the back of this issue, there is a story featuring the very first published comics art of Joe Madureira. Now, I've learned before from interviews he's done that although this is the first published work of his, it's the second story that he drew for Marvel, but it was published before the first one. So this one features Mojo from the Long Shot and X-Men comics. And you can see that at the age of 16, imagine that, when Joe Madureira's working as an intern at Marvel Comics offices in New York City, in Manhattan, how very skilled he is at this young age. He's still attending high school. And you can also see in the art an Arthur Adams influence, that he very clearly was looking at Arthur Adams' work from the mid to late 80s and incorporating that influence into his own novice art style in this period. Look at the ambition of this particular splash page here, the X-Men in the Danger Room. Fantastic work by a 16-year-old. Just really, really impressive. I just wanted to show you that, even though the main focus of this particular video review is the Prime story featuring Wolverine by Peter David and Sam Kieth. Look at that cover again. Really, really excellent work by Sam Kieth. So there you go. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on Marvel Comics Presents Wolverine issue number 89. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments section. If you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.